Hi guys, it's Afra, the baking theorist. Welcome to the first episode of the Pie Chart. This is the Halloween special where I list my top 5 family-friendly movies and make a pie to celebrate each of them. I'm going to start with an absolute classic, Tim Burton's Beetlejuice. This movie is adored by everyone that I've ever spoken to about it. The plot follows a recently deceased couple who are haunting their old home and the awful new family that move in. Then the ghosts call upon Beetlejuice, a devious poltergeist, to help them scare off the new owners. Which doesn't sound particularly family friendly, but somehow it is. The style of the movie is quite cartoony, which lightens up those horror elements, and it ends in a really uplifting way. The cast was brilliant. Michael Keaton as Beetlejuice has the perfect balance of slapstick and creepiness in what I think is his best ever role. Catherine O'Hara was deliciously awful as Delia, the wicked stepmother. It's worth watching for her outfits alone. Winona Ryder was so memorable as Lydia that I still hear Shake Sonora in my head whilst watching her in Stranger Things 30 years later. And it has two of the most adorable ghosts in the history of film, played by Gina Davis and Alec Baldwin. There are so many elements of this movie that I love. The styling of the house redesign, the costumes, the handbook for the recently deceased, the stop-motion effects, and every single scene in the underworld. Seeing the different way that death affects each person and how they have to live their death according to how they live their life, so good. It's funny and gorgeously styled and brilliantly acted. It's a must-watch movie, and Halloween is a perfect excuse, even though it doesn't feature in the movie at all. My next pick probably won't be a surprise to anyone who's come here from my Instagram page. Well, I mean, none of them are going to be a massive surprise to anyone because they're all classics, but The Addams Family and Addams Family Values are two of my absolute favourite films. I have watched them so many times. I think everyone knows who the Addams Family are, so I don't feel the need to actually explain them. But the adaptation from the 90s is my favourite. I'm sure that my age plays into it, as they were from my generation, but I don't think that anyone can deny how great this cast is. Christina Ricci was a great Wednesday Addams in the first movie, but by the second one, she was truly fantastic. Angelica Houston was stunning as Morticia Addams, and her chemistry with Raul Julius Gomez was perfect. And Christopher Lloyd is just always brilliant. I deeply love both movies, but if you can only watch one at Halloween, I'd recommend the first in the series. Although neither focus on Halloween, as every day is Halloween for the Addams Family, the sequel is set in a summer camp and also focuses on Thanksgiving, so it's probably less Halloween-y than the original. But it's brilliant, just watch them both if you can. I've actually seen the original movie 5 times this week, because my son is 2 and has decided that the scene where Thing gets a job in the mailroom is beyond hilarious. And it's one of the few things that he wants to watch on repeat that I truly enjoy and actively watch each time. We'll just keep on with the Christina Ricci Appreciation Parade for my third pick, Casper. This film has a bit of everything. It's funny and mildly scary, sad but uplifting, there's adventure and teenage drama. I can't help but sob every time I watch this movie, generally twice. If you watch this for the first time when you're a kid, I think it's impossible not to love it. So if you want your kids to have the exact same brilliant taste as you do, remember to start them off early on classics like this one. And it's actually set on Halloween. There's a giant party with all the trimmings. As a young British kid who really didn't have any Halloween experiences like that, it was one of the movies that inspired my deep love of this time of year. And my childhood Halloween fantasies absolutely included a ghostly Devon Sawa sweeping me off my feet. On paper, the plot of this movie should be a lot darker, and the resolution isn't nearly as heartwarming. A bereaved man and his daughter, Kat, travel the country trying to connect with the ghost of his dead wife. Then when they eventually find ghosts, one, Casper, befriends Kat, while the other 3 kill her dad. Casper discovers that his father spent his entire life building a machine to bring him back from the dead, and then he gives up his one chance to live again to save Kat's dad and prevent her from becoming an orphan. His grand prize for this is to meet Kat's dead mother, and then seemingly have about 15 minutes as a human so that he can dance with Kat. In the movie, it feels like a great prize, and it's only as an adult that I feel like Casper really got the short straw. But I still adore it, and I highly recommend it. Movie 4 is another Tim Burton masterpiece, The Nightmare Before Christmas. I probably could have done a whole list of Tim Burton films, to be honest, but I tried to limit it to 2. And this one is the most relevant, as at least some of the events occur around Halloween, and the whole thing is set in Halloween Town. Obviously, there is a lot of Christmas involved too, which is why I think it's best to just watch this twice a year, and that way you don't have to have the debate about whether it's a Christmas movie or a Halloween movie. Catherine O'Hara makes another wonderful appearance on this list as Sally, the ragdoll romantic interest of Jack, the Pumpkin King Skellington. We see their adventures as Jack tries to take over the duties of Sandy Claus and run Christmas his way. The music in this film is brilliant. I am trying with all my might not to just burst into song with This Is Halloween. The stop-motion animation was also so beautiful, and the Oogie Boogie Man is genuinely creepy. It's an all-around delightful film. It's probably slightly darker than the other options in this list, but again, the stop-motion style stops it from being really scary in those horror moments. Movie 5 is, I think, the most quintessential Halloween film. Hocus Pocus is about 3 Sanderson sisters, a deadly trio of witches who were killed 300 years ago, but who are resurrected by the lighting of the black flame candle by a virgin. And the virgin in question is Max Dennison. So, he, along with his sister, the girl he fancies, and a talking cat called Thackeray Brinks, then have to try and banish the witches back to where they came from. I love this movie so much, as you can probably tell. The cast is perfect. Bette Midler puts on an incredible performance as Winnie. The sound of her shrilly calling for the book still echoes in my ears. Sarah Jessica Parker perfectly captures the beautiful ditzy sister role in Sarah. And Kathy Najimy is spectacular. Her facial expressions, her tone of voice, and the delivery of the lines, she's just the best. I was also very much in love with Omri Katz, who plays Max, and if you don't know him from Erie, Indiana, you should. That show was great. Just go and watch that. And Thora Birch, she was also excellent. She managed to be sassy without being irritating, and she seemed far older than her years. The costumes in this film are great. Not just the stunning dresses worn by the Sanderson sisters, which have been recreated for cosplay and Halloween costumes ever since, but also the clothes worn by the rest of the cast. My image of American fashion has always been molded by the films that I watch, and I think that there's some real 90s classic outfit choices on display in this one. And the Halloween parties in this film made me incredibly jealous. It still shocks me that this movie was a flop when it was first released, as it's one of my favourite childhood movies, but it's still absolutely no surprise that it became a huge cult classic. So, as you may well have guessed, my number 1 pick that gets the biggest slice of pie is Hocus Pocus. If you can only watch one movie on Halloween, this is the one that I would suggest. So I know I'm releasing this after Halloween, which is a bit of a fail, but maybe I'm just getting everyone super prepared for next year. And also, I really wanted to eat these pies on Halloween, so that delayed me a bit. I'll definitely be more prepared when I get to do the next seasonal edition of the pie chart. And if you have any suggestions of themes for future episodes or pies that you'd love to see, put a comment down below and I'll see what I can do. Please like, comment, subscribe, and all those things. I'm also over on Instagram at AfraHannah Bakes, where you can check out more of my pies, biscuits, and gingerbread builds. Bye!